I'm often approached by folks that want to buy a property in a ski town, and they're like, where is the best place to buy a ski property right now? Now, this question is loaded and there's a lot of factors that come into play here, but most of these folks that ask me this question are based in Denver, the Front Range area, and they're looking for an easy commute up into the mountains. Now, historically over time, Summit County has been the place to go. The problem is, for a long time now, Summit County has been a popular place to go. It's pretty crowded, it's popular, and prices are pretty high compared to other potential areas that I'd like to suggest. The reality is Summit County is the line that never ends, both on the mountain and on the road trying to get there. And so most folks are looking for an opportunity at a place less crowded than Summit County. So there are many options out there, and I'll make some videos on some other options, but I'm gonna base my suggestion today on the fact that most folks that ask me this question are based somewhere in the Front Range area, and they're looking for a quicker and easier commute to a place up in the mountains. And oftentimes too, they're looking for a place that is less developed than Summit County, that offers properties at more affordable prices, although to be honest, it's hard to find anything affordable in the mountains. So the relative aspect of what is affordable is I'll put caveats on that for this, because the location that I'm going to talk about still is not cheap, but compared to other ski locations, and in particular places like Summit County, it's definitely more affordable. So where am I talking about? I'm talking about Grand County. Now, Grand County for years was kind of like this place that nobody went to, right? People would drive up I-70, they'd go through the Eisenhower Tunnel to Summit County, and they wouldn't take that turn through Empire to go over Berthoud Pass to Grand County. That changed, however, and that changed relatively recently with regards to the number of people that have been attracted to and have been going to and buying property in Grand County. And again, this is kind of one of those COVID effect things where there was this shift of people looking to get out into the mountains and realizing they need to find a place that was more affordable. And so Grand County definitely no longer as affordable as it was not that long ago, really, to be honest. It was pretty dang affordable a couple years ago, and prices have increased significantly. But with that said, I still feel like Grand County offers the best bang for your buck if you're looking for something that is still a close drive to Denver and the Front Range, and if you're looking for something that still has a decent runway with regards to appreciation, because while it is definitely more expensive, it's definitely not cheap, there is more room to grow in Grand County than there is in a place like Summit County. So when I talk about Grand County, what are some of the key areas? Well, there's Winter Park and Fraser. And Winter Park and Fraser are primarily the two places where I would say you'd want to be, in particular if you're looking to ski at Winter Park. You can go further up valley, but to me, those places are the best places to be. They also have a solid infrastructure, including bus routes that would take you from those towns to the ski mountain. Now, if you blink as you're driving between these two towns, you won't actually realize that you transferred and transitioned from Winter Park to Fraser, because the reality is there's a lot of building happening, and there's a little sign on your right-hand side on the highway as you travel up the valley. But the reality is it seems to flow as if it's all one continuous town. However, it's not, and there are some pros and cons to both. So real quickly, let me talk about some of the quote-unquote cons. When it comes to Winter Park, there is a sales transfer tax. There are only a few areas of Colorado that have this tax, and Winter Park is one of those. Fraser does not. And so if you want to save there, Fraser is a great option for that. Now, of course, when it comes to real estate, location, 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 and the town of Winter Park, as the name insinuates, is closer to the ski mountain than Fraser, so that is a pro with regards to that aspect and a con with regards to Fraser. Now, with that said, from a short-term rental perspective, because most people are looking to buy a property up in the mountains, they want to use it for themselves and they want to short-term rent it when they're not using it. So one of the main pros is that it's pretty easy to obtain a short-term rental license anywhere in the county. So when you look at this compared to Summit County, where they're getting more restrictive, it still is easy. It's basically an application process and paying a fee to obtain a short-term rental license. The con of that, though, is that anybody can come in and obtain a short-term rental license. And so from a competition perspective, you have a lot of competition out there, and most folks that are coming up from the Front Range want something smaller, right? They want that 1, 2, 3, 4 bedroom type property. And so there's a pretty solid saturation of those properties in the market, which definitely has an impact on your rental rates and your occupancy rates of your property. Now, what I chose to do, I actually built some properties in Fraser a few years back, and I actually built one that was larger. I built a 6-bedroom, 4.5 bath property that sleeps 15. And so at the time, this was fairly unique. I mean, I could count, on my fingers, the competition. Things have changed though, and there definitely are more properties at that size. However, the majority of properties in the competition is at the lower bedroom count level. And so you just have to realize that you're not going to make as much money short-term renting your property today as you could years ago. But if you're looking for a ski house and you're looking for a way to help subsidize your mortgage payment, it still can be a great way to go. You can also look for ways to differentiate your property and make it stand out more and rent at a higher rate and increase your occupancy versus the competition. But with that said, there are many factors of real estate that make it a valuable asset. And if you're looking to create those family memories, then your main goal is getting a place that works for you and your family, but also subsidizing the mortgage. And so in the end, there are pros and cons. But when it comes to real estate, as I just mentioned, there are 4 key factors. There is obviously that cash flow, which may not be as much as it used to be in this area, but still you can find an opportunity to short-term rent your property and create some additional revenue to help offset your mortgage. There's depreciation, and this is a key one I think is really interesting for Grand County, because when you look at the cost per square foot of properties in Grand County and you compare it to other ski areas, take Summit County as an example, it still is significantly lower than the cost to build and or the cost per square foot that those properties are selling for in Summit County. And so not saying that Grand County will surpass Summit County or even reach it, tie it. I think it has the potential to do that, and I'll talk to you about why I think that in a minute. But there still is a decent gap between the sales price per square foot of properties in Grand County and other ski areas. And so I think there's opportunity here, especially when we think about the things that are happening within Grand County and specifically the Winter Park area. So what are they doing? Well, they're constantly evolving and expanding the infrastructure, right? So that's key, but a lot of areas are doing that. What's also interesting is the fact that they're looking to expand their skiable terrain. And they're also working to put a gondola that will service downtown Winter Park. So you can not only take a gondola from downtown Winter Park up to the top of the ski mountain and connect there, but they'll also have a ski back trail so you can ski back to town. Now this hasn't been created and it's in the works right now. I'll put some links to some articles on these topics in the show notes, but it's something that's gaining momentum and approval and looks likely to happen in the not too distant future. In Grand County too, beyond just the Winter Park ski area, there's a lot of great things happening up in the town of Granby with regards to expansion there, especially if you're looking for long-term investment properties. There's always a need for housing throughout the county, and there's some great opportunities up in the Granby area if you're looking to have a place in the mountains and also have something that you could use as a midterm and or a long-term investment. For those of you that aren't as into the bigger ski mountains, there's also a lot of development that's happening at Ski Granby, and that's also another interesting place to look from an investment perspective as well. You also have some other really interesting outdoor activities in Grand County. So beyond the hiking and mountain biking which exists there, you also have a hot springs in Hot Sulphur Springs. You also have the west entrance to Rocky Mountain National Park, which you can access via Grand Lake. Speaking of Grand Lake, Colorado doesn't have a ton of water. This county, though, has a significant amount of water. You've got the Fraser River, you've got the headwaters to the Colorado River, but you also have a few lakes. You've got Lake Granby, you've got Shadow Mountain Lake, as well as Grand Lake. And so if you're looking to enjoy some water activities, in particular water activities in the mountains, this county offers more than most other counties in the entire state. So these are some great things that the Valley and the county have to offer that you can't find in a lot of other places and make it truly unique and special. Tie that in with the fact that it has close proximity to Denver and the Front Range area, and that if you don't want, you don't have to go through the Eisenhower Tunnel, you can take Berthoud Pass over, but the reality is traffic. The great thing about Grand County is that it has access via the train from Denver. There's no other place in Colorado that currently has this. You can actually jump on the train in Denver and ride it and get dropped off literally at the base of the ski mountain in Winter Park. So you could just do a day trip if you wanted, or you can also go up and stay there. The nice thing is too, for those folks in Fraser, is there's also a stop in downtown Fraser. So currently right now, the train stops in downtown Fraser as well as at the base of the ski resort. there are some talks about expanding the passenger rail service, not only in Grand County, but also up to Routt County, up to the Steamboat Springs and surrounding area. So there you have it on why I think the Grand County and specifically the Winter Park area is a great spot for investing today. Of course, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think, especially if they put that passenger train up to the Steamboat Springs area, that could be another place that sees some additional growth potential. All right, that's it for today. If you like information like this, then definitely like and subscribe for more.